Last week we started Don Miguel Ruiz and the 4 agreements. And the first agreement was be impeccable with your word. So how did you do with that this week? Perfect, huh? Maybe not. Yeah, okay. Thank you for laughing. But that's okay. We're aware. We're cognizant of the words that come out of us, fueled by the thoughts that roll within us. And then we can make the changes needed to, like the Daily Word said, recognize that every single one of us are made in that glory, in that wonderfulness. And when we look at each other that way, the words we choose and the thoughts we hold are surely to be different. So today we jump into the second agreement, is don't take anything personally. And I laugh because, oh my gosh, one quick look at Facebook and there's a lot of people taking a lot of things personally and then reacting from that space. So I'll tell you, many years ago, long before I became a Unity minister, I worked in sales and marketing in long-term care. And on a sunny June afternoon, my boss called me into his office. And I was on really good terms with my boss, and I didn't think anything of it. So I went marching in all happy, and oh dear, he said, Karen, Medicare made significant changes to reimbursement. And we have to restructure as an organization. And that restructure means that we no longer have the ability to fund a marketing sales team. So we have to eliminate your job. Yikes, was not expecting that. And he said, well, don't take it personally, it's just business. Well, I was a single mom with 3 kids. It was very personal. Even on a good day, my checking account was a little bit sluggish. So he said, we really like you and we'll try to find a place for you, but we'll give you a month's notice. Any days off that you want to go interviews, just go ahead. But just remember, it's not personal. It's just business. Well, let me tell you, it was very personal to me. Now, it all worked out just beautiful and fine, but I did take it personally. It was personal. Or was it? Yeah, I chose to take that personal, but I didn't have to. In our human experiences, I sometimes have the habit of taking what people say personally. I take what people do personally. I take it seriously. And when we take everything personally, especially what others tell us about ourselves, that makes us very imprintable with those false beliefs, with those negative connotations of ourselves, with the smallness, the not enoughness. When we believe it's their perspective from where they're living their life. Each person in this room has a different opinion, and tomorrow that opinion might change. It very well might be something else. And on any given day, we might have a different opinion. What happens if we all thought the same? If we all acted the same? Boring. I wouldn't want that kind of life. I enjoy other people's perspectives for the most part. Sometimes not so much. And this doesn't mean that when I say what somebody else thinks of me isn't any of my business. Doesn't mean that I have privilege to treat people in a way that's demeaning. It doesn't mean that I have the right to treat people unfairly. It means that I honor myself first for who and what I am. And on every day, I am beloved of God. I am whole, perfect, and complete right now. Willing to change and grow and expand, but in every moment I can honor that goodness in which we are made And then I can look at others, abiding by those same rules, abiding by that first agreement to be impeccable with our word. So don't take anything personally. Look at life from the long view. If someone says something that feels offensive or does something that, really triggers our soft spots, look at it from the long view. You know, we hear this from Don Miguel Ruiz in the Four Agreements. We heard it from the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu in the Book of Joy. It's a consistent teaching. Take the long view. And we can simply ask ourselves, in 5 minutes, what will this experience mean? In 5 weeks, what will this experience mean? Probably something very different, if we even remember the experience. In 5 months, how will this experience impact me? And what will be the meaning of this in 5 years? Can you remember what happened day to day 5 years ago? I surely can't. So when something goes awry in a relationship, as it sometimes does in long-term relationships with family and friends, co-workers, rather than looking at that exact experience, rather than looking at that person with judgmental eyes, we can look at the broader scope of the entire relationship. Is this the first time this has happened, or is this a consistent pattern of somebody talking to me in a way that I don't appreciate? If it's just one isolated instance, how about some grace? How about some compassion? How about some honoring that the person may be having their own life challenges and experiences? And when we look at it as a distance, we can see that bigger picture. We can evaluate the entirety of our relationship, and we can allow the truth to rise, that they are a dear and treasured friend who seems like they are having a hard time today. We can look from a perspective of love, patience, kindness, and compassion. So don't take anything personally. And we can take what is true and leave the rest. You know, sometimes when someone tells us something about ourselves, the reason that we get so upset about it is because somewhere in the spewing there is a morsel of truth. Just a teeny tiny morsel perhaps. And we can take that tiny morsel and we can evaluate that piece that is true. We can look at it from a distance. Maybe not when we're embroiled in conversation, but when we're sitting quietly on our back porch, listening to the wind blow, we can say, yes, there was a little bit of truth in that. And we can grow from that piece of truth. We can learn to call ourselves into a higher way of being, and we can respond from love. Often in a lesson, and I said it today, I say, take what resonates and leave the rest. And we can do that when we feel offended or hurt or put off by somebody. We can take what is true and just leave the rest behind. It holds our relationships together very well too. And we can adopt that practice of taking what is true and leaving the rest, and we can approach the person from a sense of mindfulness, of hearing the words that are spoken. We're better able to listen with an open heart, not a heart that's walled off by resentment. And maybe we become annoyed or angry with someone because they've touched something in us that we already know about ourselves. They've touched something that is true, that perhaps we haven't yet faced it, and here they're bringing it up to us again. Perhaps there is just a morsel of truth. Use that morsel of truth to become the best expression of the divine expressing as us that we can possibly be. We don't use those things to beat ourselves up, to judge ourselves or to be harsh with ourselves. We use them to create more good for ourselves. So when somebody says something or does something that truly pushes our buttons, pushes our stuff, and it all rises in us, that's a cue to pay attention. The good question that we can ask ourselves is exactly what's triggered. What have they touched in us? And what is true? What parts are true? And whatever is coming up is coming to capture our attention. And now that it has our attention, we can do our inner work around whatever it is. We can do our inner releasing and forgiving and healing work. So let's talk about what happens when our stuff is stirred and when my stuff bumps into other people's stuff. That ever happened to you? Yeah. It comes up for an opportunity for us to heal those deep inner spots in us that are hurt, bruised, or just flat out wounded. They come for that purpose. They come for us to engage our practice of forgiveness. So who has a regular practice of forgiveness? And if you don't, today is a perfect day to start one. And if you don't start it today, tomorrow is another perfect day to start it. We will likely have something, someone, even if it is ourselves, to forgive most days. You know, it's said that Charles Fillmore had a daily practice of forgiveness. At the end of his day, he would scan the events of the day and notice who he felt had offended him, and he promptly forgave them. He noticed who he may have offended, and he promptly forgave himself. It's an active practice, and we can be in it every day, making it a regular practice. And when others touch our stuff or when we touch other people's stuff, it comes to be healed. They come up and because we are ready. If we weren't ready, we wouldn't even notice it. So there's something in us that perhaps has even invited some new issues, some new dynamic to be healed or forgiven. And we always have free will. We can always say, nope, no thank you, not today, not doing it. And when we say and do that, just be ready and know that it's going to come again. And it's going to come again and again and again until we say, okay, let's do this. Let's do the forgiveness. Let's do the healing. Let's do the forgiving. And we heal and forgive at various levels each and every time. So sometimes we might feel really complete with a forgiveness or a wound that's healed, and darn it, here it comes again. But every time it comes with a deeper understanding. So it might be the same issue, but a different perspective of it, a different layer of it, and we can grow even deeper in our self-understanding, in our wisdom, and in our forgiveness practices. So don't take anything personally. In our human existence and right here in our spiritual community, some people will like what we do, some people won't. Consider how each Sunday we gather together for this time of celebration, and some lessons will resonate with you and some won't. But please know, I truly appreciate your comments and your words, but I can't take it personally. So when you say your kind words to me, I'm so grateful that there was something in the message that was meaningful. I'm so grateful that there was something in the message that provoked you to thought, that called you into quiet thinking about your life, that stimulated growth. And I can't take it personally any more than you would say, Karen, that lesson really tanked. That was real, and that happens. I'm not kidding about that. Some of them just fall flat. They seem better in the head than they do out in the air. So I promise you, I don't take those personally either, because if I take everything that you expect and desire of me personally, then I no longer live authentically. I no longer live the truth of who I am. I live for the pure purpose of pleasing you. And none of us are here for that purpose. None of us are here to please others. We are here to teach others, to be teachers and students one of another. We are here to acknowledge the divine in each other and the goodness in each moment, and to call each other into a greater expression, a deeper understanding of the divine. So I don't take it personally. That allows me the freedom to be authentic, to be who I'm here to be, not to please anyone, to live my purpose. So don't take anything personally. And there are many benefits of not taking anything personally. We get to keep our own perspective. We don't take on the opinions of others. We are free thinkers. We have a peace of mind when we're not taking everything personally. We can move easily in forgiveness and gratitude, and we can develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and of each other. And we can grow in our expression of compassion when we're really solid in who and what we are and why we are here and what we are to do here. We can be compassionate for others. And remember, when someone lashes out at us, it's not about us. It's about what's brewing, what's moving, what's churning inside themselves. We just happen to be the place that receives it. It's about the role that they have assumed in life, perhaps. It's about their life spirit experiences from birth up to that moment. Yes. Often, it's about the other person calling out for love. So what are we going to do when someone is asking for love? What are we going to do? Are we going to withhold love from them? What are we going to do? We're going to give them love. We would to a newborn babe that's crying, they're needing cuddling and love. We give it to them. And so we do the same with these full-grown adults that we've become. We still need love. I still need to feel love. So when someone is acting in a way that's calling for love, we don't withhold it. We pour it on even more so. So someone kindly gave me this quote quite a long time ago that I want to share with you. If you are willing to look at another person's behavior towards you as a reflection of the state of their relationship with themselves, rather than the statement about your value as a person, then you will, over a period of time, cease to react to it all. You will take none of it personally. But just in case, in the course of time, we take something personally, there are some things that we can do. Get to know ourself, our body. Our body is a great informant for us. We know when we feel anger, right? Your body responds in certain ways, right? My face gets red, I feel energy rising. That's my cue to pay attention to what's happening and to keep my mouth quiet. That's my cue. So notice in your body, when you start to take something personally and your body is reacting to it, your body will react before you speak, and you have the right and privilege to withhold your words. Be impeccable with your words. So notice that and acknowledge those feelings. In our Tuesday night book study, oh my gosh, this is a really big practice in the radical acceptance, to notice and acknowledge it. Here it is. I'm feeling flustered. Okay, I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling resentment. Whatever it is, call it by name. Acknowledge it. And then separate from it for the moment. Separate with love. And then when you have a moment of private time, take care of your stuff. Take care of all of it, all that caused you to feel anger. Take care of all of it. And remember, Don Miguel Ruiz says the first agreement is the most important and the most difficult to keep. It's the foundation for the other agreements, and that is to be impeccable with your word. Perhaps if we're taking things personally, we haven't lived in harmony with that first agreement. Perhaps. And it's important to remember that we can always stand in our truth. I am a firm believer that the truth will not hurt us. So someone telling us the truth about ourselves really doesn't hurt us. When we share the truth, we expect ourselves to share the truth with compassion and kindness and generosity and grace. But people don't always share the truth with us that way. But the truth, that morsel of truth, it doesn't hurt us. And always remember that I do not have the right or the responsibility to change another person. I only have the responsibility to change myself. I don't have the right to change spouses or partners or friends or children, even teenagers. We don't have the right to change them, or co-workers. And with respect, we find a space to honor all that the other person is. Sometimes when we're taking things personally, we're simply not honoring our body, our mind, or our spirit. We're not nurturing ourselves with exercise, good nutrition, or sleep. So we get a little cranky, right? Who's not cranky when they're hungry or tired or thirsty? So if I'm taking something personally, I look at how I'm caring for myself. I also look at what I'm attached to. You know, Buddhist teachings are deep in the understanding that our attachment to the musts and shoulds of life is what causes us suffering. It's not the event, it's the attachment to it. So I release attachments to what must be, what somebody should do, what that teenager should behave like. They're teenagers. They behave the way they behave. And we can live freely in that. So I want to close with the words of Don Miguel Ruiz, directly from his book, The 4 Agreements. Even the opinions you have about yourself are not necessarily true. Therefore, you do not need to take whatever you hear in your own mind personally. Don't take anything personally, because by taking things personally, you set yourself up to suffer for nothing. When we really see other people as they are without taking it personally, we can never be hurt by what they say or what they do. Even if others lie to you, it's okay. They are lying to you because they are afraid. There's a huge amount of freedom that comes to you when you take nothing personally. The whole world can gossip about you, and if you don't take it personally, you are immune. Sometimes someone can intentionally send emotional poison, and if you don't take it personally, you will not eat it. When you do not take the emotional poison, it becomes even worse in the sender, but not in you. As you make the habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what other people say. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. You are never responsible for the actions of others. You are only responsible for yourself. When you truly understand this and refuse to take things personally, you can hardly be hurt by the careless comments or actions of others. If you keep this agreement, you can travel around the world with your heart completely open, and no one will harm you. You can say, "I love you," without fear of being ridiculed or rejected. You can ask for what you want and what you need. Brilliant. Don't take anything personally. And we always remember to let all we do be done with love. Namaste.